Hello, Masterminders. Welcome to our theme of mind, power, focus, and concentration. This month, this beautiful month, this journey, this path that we're taking together in a mastermind of collective individuals to seek our greatness, to balance our weakness, and to come together to hold each other accountable, we are going to take our hands and place them on our heads and dive into the beauty of the mind. With 60,000 thoughts per day that we have, plus emotions in the heart, including all of the circumstances around us, whether it's relationship, love, money, finances, housing situations, career transitions, business breaking down. Things are happening around us, and the mind is creating 60,000 thoughts per day with all of those entries. It's like data entry into the mind. So as we make our way into the summer, I want to inspire and motivate you about the power of your mind to focus and concentrate. And I'm going to give you this example to utilize and then share some feedback with me. So I'll give you my example based on my reality. I had a quiet apartment and I had my 3 cats and everything was great. And I decided to move in with my parents with my 3 cats. They have a cat. And although I told them to build me an apartment downstairs by building 2 walls because I thought it would be more effective, they didn't think so. And that original idea is proving that it could have worked a little bit better. So in the past month, my focus and my concentration, although it was 24/7 expansive as an entrepreneur, it has dwindled down to certain elements and certain times of the day. And I've been finding myself going from room to room to room or to outside and then down. But the power of my mind has not decreased. It's only the ability and the time for focus. So I'll ask you this. When challenge faces you with its arms on its hips, how do you respond? How does your mind see that challenge? Does it see the problem? Does it ruminate on the problem? Or does it see possibility and work from there? You see, what I've experienced and what I'm really proud of is the work that I write about in my books and the work that I use in my coaching programs is coming out of me. And even though my ample space of focus time used to be this, or maybe this, and it's come down to this, even in this small space of time, I am giving my 100%, even if it's like this, this, and this, maybe 3 or 4 pieces of that time to focus because other things are of like switching cats and making sure one cat's here and the other cat's not hurting one another and watching them. And it has been a lot. So the power of concentration went from this to little pieces, but in those little pieces, I'm still giving 100%, or maybe like 95%. So my quest for you this month is to focus on mind power. Focus on possibility and not the problem. And when your focus comes from this to this, are you self-depreciating? Are you beating yourself up and making excuses to say, oh, I don't have time for that? You know, that's one of my worst phrases of all time. Oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time. I'm so busy. People who say they're so busy, they're not. They might be busy being busy. And it's really just one of the phrases that I think is a communication activist to take out of your language and just be one with the moment. And yeah, you might be busy, but saying it out loud, it's like saying I'm enlightened. It's the person who says that they're enlightened is the least enlightened because the most enlightened people are still learning and they're never going to stop learning. The shades might go up along the way. So we have to be careful of our vocabulary and how we use it, and using the mind power this month in July as the sun is just beaming on our faces and our feet are in the sand or in the pool having a nice cocktail or sitting outside with our coffee in the morning, just with that cool breeze, looking at your flowers. Can you think about the times in your life that you felt so confined that your mind won't work, or your mind feels blocked, or your concentration and your focus feels blocked? And it might have went from this space of time to this. And when you got to this, you wanted it to be here so much so that that's all you did was focus on, oh, I don't have this, so I can't do it. But use my example. And even if you have this, can you give 100%? Can you give 70% of yourself in this space instead of not even trying to become one in that space? It's like the idea of a rigid ice cube versus flexibility and flowing water. You see, the mind with 60,000 thoughts per day can be utilized in a positive way. So I ask you, if you're upset, do you actually know that anyone that chooses to stay upset is on their doing? It's like personal accountability. So when you're unfocused or unproductive and you get upset about that, sure, it's absolutely upsetting. But with the power of the mind and the mind's ability to do magnificent things, matched with the spirit of the now, the spirit of the present moment that we talk so much about in this group, can you use the space and the time, even if your focus and concentration dwindles? Can you still give 100% in a smaller amount of focus time? And if so, I commend you. There's really no reason for any of us to self-depreciate and to make excuses. So I ask that you think about the power of your mind this month and its ability to use quantum theory. Quantum theory states that thoughts become things. Anything that we think about, we can manifest back to us. And although that may sound foo-foo to some, there's really a lot of truth to that. There's so much beauty to that. So this month, as we focus on the power of the mind, may you ask yourself in your time of focus, how am I spending that time? Where is my focus and my concentration? Is it on the problem or is it on the solution? Is it on being upset and ruminating on the excuses? Or is it on the possibility that even in this small space, in this small chunk of time, I'm going to focus on all of the great things that I can get done. And I'm not going to dwindle on the fact that I don't have that big expansive space anymore. I have this small space, so what can I do with that smaller space? I think it's so valiant of a human trait, a leadership mastery tool, to think about your mindset in such a way. And I love the idea of mind power, because I truly believe that we can bring thoughts into our reality and we can catch ourselves, like my book, Design Your Mind to Be Kind, we can catch ourselves in the moment to say, hey, wait a minute, that's an excuse. Or, hey, wait a minute, I'm being really rigid here. And instead of being rigid, we can be more flexible with what we're given. And this is especially crucial when we're in our second half of life, because we don't want to be rushing or living in the past or wishing for the future or wishing for things to get better. Because when we're 90, we kind of want to look back and be like, well, that was a good life. And a good life in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s is actually thinking about being in the moment and being okay with what's happening. And that's the power and the focus of this mastermind, to keep you grounded with themes. And every 30 days, with every change, being held accountable for personal perseverance, for grit, and your ability to become better than you were 5 minutes ago or a year ago or a month ago is so valuable to the way that you wake up and the way that you sleep. So I ask you to use the power of your mindset and your focus and concentration to embrace the wisdom of your everyday life with such poise and such grace that you'd be super proud of yourself for the little things that you achieve. And celebrating that is wonderful.